Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a film review of the Malayalam film Ayyappanum Koshiyum. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do trailer reactions and film reviews of Indian cinema. Okay, I had many requests to see this film. It came out in theaters in the beginning of February, and I was not able to see it in theaters. The film stars Prithviraj, Biju Menon, and the director Ranjith as Kalyan, Prithviraj's father in the film. The interesting thing is this director-writer of the film, Sachy, also wrote the script to Driving License, which is a film that came out at the end of December, which is also on my list. I know it's streaming on Amazon Prime. The setup is that Koshi is the name of Prithviraj's character, and he's former military. He's being driven through like a national park or something, and they get stopped at a police stop point, which is to find anyone who has alcohol, because the area that he's driving through is dry. Well, he'd been smuggling a bunch of bottles to go to a party. Anyway, so in the course, since he's drunk, in the course of the arrest, his driver is begging him to calm down, but he starts to try to strangle one of the police officers, and Biju Menon's character, Ayyappan, slaps him twice. Well, that just puts him into a rage. Like, it takes everybody to calm him down. Once he gets to the police station, they start doing the paperwork and whatever. Now he's sobered up a little bit, and they've taken his phone, and somebody notices, they're going through his phone, and they notice he has all of these really influential people, politicians and officials and whatever, they're in his contact list. And then, Koshi vows revenge, but Ayyappan is like, well, I'm sorry, but we've already started filing the paperwork. You're going to have to be in jail for a couple of weeks. This is a serious offense here. Kind of, tries to calm him down and explain. And, things just go really sour because Koshi is having none of it. Prithviraj, it's just, he's like, I'm going to get this guy when I get out. Once he gets out, then it's on. And this film is so much about a clash of male egos. Both of these men wrong each other and insult each other, and they cannot back down. And I thought what was interesting is how well acted it was, and especially the role of Ranjith, who, thank you everyone for pointing out to me that is the director of my favorite film, Devasuram, and here he's acting an incredible. He's urging Prithviraj on. Prithviraj might have backed down, but you can see he has this complex relationship with his father because his father taunts him like anyone with a spine. This is what a man does. Are you a man or not? Even mocking his military service, like, well, you were just a sergeant. You can see there's just so much complicated feelings there in that relationship. And so then it's like Prithviraj feels like he's boxed in because he was gonna concede and, let things go, whatever, and then it ramps it all back up again because his manhood has been questioned by his father. There are some women in this film, but they have such minor roles. That's one of the disappointing things. It's just so much the clash of these two men. And the twist at the interval point when you think, okay, here's, the main thing that the police officer, Ayyappan, is so upset about is that this guy is going to get off because he has influential friends, and that's what he really can't stand. He has a tribal wife, and she says to him, don't let him get away with it. To have his manhood in front of his wife, who is expecting him to react violently and get his revenge, like, it's just this whole cycle. It's having not only your manhood within the community, but within your own family, even being questioned and having to prove things to the people that love you the most or that you might love the most. The actress Gauri Nandra gets a couple of zinger lines that she says, especially in a confrontation with Prithviraj's Koshi. But to me, it still kind of wasn't enough. It's like a lot of her part was just standing there, looking defiant, holding her infant. Okay, like the film is almost 3 hours long. You could have hoped that instead of, just a couple lines in here and there could have been a little bit more for the women to do. But the film, and I do think the film is a little bit long. It got a little bit repetitive, although, certain things happen, like somebody's house being ripped down by heavy equipment or whatever, like you're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't see that coming. So the twists, especially about the background of the police officer Ayyappan, were amazing. I loved the layers that both actors were able to bring to their roles. These are not one-note people. That's what I really liked about it. Yes, it's like an action film. It's like this thriller, like your allegiance, who you want to come out on top, because you're thinking one of these guys is going to die by the end of the film. And I was pleasantly surprised at how Sachy wrote the script, how he ended it, and even the little epilogue at the end was very satisfying. I couldn't figure it, because that was the thing. Neither could back down. And even Ayyappan's boss in the police, in the police hierarchy is just like, one of these guys is going to kill the other one. They're just, I thought the ultimate, when they have the confrontation and it becomes physical at the end, it reminded me of Mohanlal style action scenes like that, where it's just like wrestling, fighting, and not like the over-the-top kind of masala, somebody gets thrown farther than they could be thrown through the air, and then you have the leaves going up, like it was real and visceral, and didn't seem like too many stunt people either. It seemed like Prithviraj and Biju were right there in the middle doing a lot of these things and falling into the mud and whatever. So I really appreciated how tense, build up, and then when we finally get this physical confrontation, it's really quite something. But Prithviraj, the layers that, I kind of like that he's been playing a lot of saintly characters, not Lucifer, but I'm saying kind of before that. And I kind of like that this, I'm gathering driving license is also a little bit of a negative, arrogant character. But I really love seeing him being so dark and then showing the laters, like he's starting to get afraid and showing kind of his vulnerability with what his father is saying to him and demanding of him. Like all the layers that a master actor like Prithviraj can bring to this part. And Biju Menon also just really impressed me because he just seems like your regular bland, nice cop, and boy does he turn it on a dime. He's not saying words, but just the rage in his face, like, oh my God, wow. It was amazing. So, heartily recommend this film. Thank you to everyone who urged me to see it. It's showing on Amazon, streaming right now. Yet another Malayalam film that's really examining masculinity, toxic masculinity, the trap, that men are kind of in, having to prove that they're the man, and what dark places and paths that can lead you down. Really admired the script. My only quibbles, as I said, were maybe could have been tightened up a little bit. I know this is Sachy as a director, only his second film. And also, I just wish the women's parts had been fleshed out a little bit more. And one particular scene where Koshy's wife, Anna Rajan, plays Ruby, Koshy's wife, and she finally kind of speaks up for herself and speaks up against her father-in-law. And then Koshy's character slaps her. Prithviraj slaps her. And all the time his character's been saying, but what about the women? If one of us ends up dead, one will be a widow, one will be the wife of a murderer. Like, he's always thinking about the family that's going to be left behind, and yet I suppose the scene was supposed to show that he was still part of the patriarchy and he was going to slap her down, but it just left a real sour note for me. I don't know, something about that needed to be handled a little bit better, because he never, it just kind of is left there and he never gets any punishment for it or blowback or I don't know, anything. Yeah, so, but overall, wow, really amazed. Really amazing film and definitely worth seeing. All right, let me know what you thought about this film in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at PardeziYT. Subscribe here to Pardesi Reviews. And if you hit the bell when you subscribe, you'll never miss another trailer reaction or film review.